Hi everybody, it's Nate Dogg 033 here. And yes, Michael Bay did apologize for Transformers 2. We'll get to that audio in a minute. It's from one of my favorite critics, Confused Matthew. I'll provide a link, maybe, to his channel. I hope I don't catch any heat from him or his fans for posting this, but I watched the intro to his upcoming review for Transformers 3, and everything that he said in there uh, reflected my feelings on the Michael Bay movies. Let me just once again stress the fact that I'm not doing this because I'm one of those people that says Generation 1 was better than the movies. I think the Generation 1 cartoons were heavily flawed. They had a lot of good elements in them, but not enough to keep my attention. And then what do they do in the movies? They just take all the bad elements and amplify them. Stupid people, stupid stories, and what do they do to the fans of these movies? They take their favorite characters and kill them off, just like in the 1986 full-length movie. Why do you people keep giving them money if all they're going to do is off your favorite characters? Well, anyway, I know a lot of the things that I say have people scratching their heads. They don't understand. Is this guy a fan of the movies, or is he not? Is he a fan of Generation 1, or is he not? Uh, I think they're both flawed, and fans just need to stop giving them money so that, teach them a lesson. Show them that you demand more from this concept. I don't want to waste any more time on that. I have several videos that explain how I feel about this concept. I don't want to repeat myself, so watch those other videos if you care to. And anyway, well, here it is, the Confused Matthew's intro to his upcoming review of Transformers 3. And listen to what he says. Everything that he says in here is exactly how I feel. And he's far more eloquent than I am, so check it out.
Before I get into Transformers 3, I want to quickly go back and talk about Transformers 2. It had been brought to my attention that Michael Bay had apologized for Transformers 2, and I hadn't heard anything about that. Certainly not when I reviewed the movie with my brother, because if I had known about that, I might have given him a little bit of credit for that, and maybe I would have said exactly the same things about Transformers 2 that I did, but maybe I would have gone a little bit easier on Michael Bay. Come to find out, this was actually a bit of a half-assed apology on his part, and something that he's kind of shifting the blame to the right person, mind you, but still, he seems to be not taking 100% responsibility for this. I understand it's not 100% his responsibility, but the fact that he identified whose responsibility it is ties into my review of Transformers 3, so if you will just indulge me for one moment. He didn't really apologize for it, he sort of did. Here's what he said. We made some mistakes. The real fault with Transformers 2 is that it ran into a mystical world. When I look back at it, that was crap. The writer's strike was coming hard and fast. It was just terrible to do a movie where you've got to have a story in 3 weeks. And he elaborates on that. He said, I was prepping a movie for months where I only had 14 pages of some idea of what the movie was. It's a BS way to make a movie. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, Michael Bay, I do know what you're saying. You're saying that you didn't have a script while you were shooting and prepping the movie and this and that and the other thing. You shot before the screenplay was complete. That's what happens. That's what makes a bad movie. So he's identifying the writing being the problem with Transformers 2. Nevertheless, he did, on some kind of fundamental, albeit half-assed way, apologize for Transformers 2, and I give him some credit for that. Michael Bay, you owe us another apology. This is the worst of the three. This Transformers Dark of the Moon is a strong contender for worst movie that I have ever seen in my life. And the name of this clown placed on the screen who wrote Transformers 2. It's also the name of the guy who wrote Transformers 3. Michael, you guys hired the exact same fucking ass clown to write this movie as you did the last one. What did you think was going to happen? If you were really sorry about Transformers 2, you would have fired him and hired someone who can actually write. Now, I don't know if Michael Bay is responsible for the hiring and firing of writers. He probably isn't. But he does have clout and some control over the movie. Steven Spielberg had nothing to do with this movie except for slapping his name on it, and as far as I know, he was responsible, or at least partially responsible, for Megan Fox being fired altogether. So there's absolutely something you could have done to make that happen. So you'll have to forgive me when I say that it is really hard for me to accept Michael Bay's apology for kicking me in the nuts when he just turns around and does it again. Worse this time. This movie is worse. It's worse than the second one. The dialogue is worse, the characters are worse, the pathetic, hopeless attempt at humor is worse. This movie needs to be... Somebody needs to track down a fairy and have that fairy wave a magic wand and turn this movie into an actual person so that I can kick its fucking ass. I'm not going to talk about the plot because there isn't one, so there's nothing to talk about. Transformers run around and Michael Bay lets Shia LaBeouf be as obnoxious as possible. They stuck some new girl in here, and the first scene we see of her is her with no pants on. Just everything you would come to expect from an obnoxious teen film with robots. But the thing that gets on my nerves the most about these movies, and this does include the first one, which I think was the best of the three, but it still had these problems, it's so panderous to teenagers. And the reason I say that is because teenagers are the only things that exist in this movie. The teenagers are teenagers, the adults are teenagers, the military is teenagers, the business owners are teenagers, the Transformers are teenagers, and it's just like... There's this douchebag writing the movie that thinks, oh yeah, we'll make everybody teenagers and the teenagers will go apeshit over it. Well, fuck you. People don't talk like this, and people don't act like this. Not everyone in the world is obnoxious as you see them through your lens of bullshit. And I'm talking to the writer right now. And once again, you have this common theme in this movies where every single goddamn fucking character has mental problems. And the examples of this are sprawled out all over the movie, like... There's a scene where Shia LaBeouf is trying to get a job, and he has an interview, and the business owner who's interviewing him, he has a conniption fit because someone is using a red cup on a yellow floor, because I guess he has mental problems. Then you have a scene where Shia is stopped from driving his car into a military installation, and so he just starts screaming completely out of the blue because I guess he has mental problems. Then you have a scene where there's this Asian gentleman who takes him into a bathroom stall and starts taking his pants off because he's got a manifesto in his pants because I guess he has mental problems. But the thing is, that character, the one who took his pants off in the bathroom stall, he was actually supposed to have mental problems, and he was completely indistinguishable from every other character in the movie. So, as usual, you've got a bunch of obnoxious teenagers running around in robot form and in adult form. You have the Sector 7 guy from the first movie running around who has mental problems. And I'm so goddamn fucking tired of this shit. This is why I did not see this movie in the theater. I know you guys wanted me to review it when it was new. I am not going to give these people any more money than just my regular Netflix subscription fee. I am not going to pay to see this bullshit. Ever. I'm just so tired of these goddamn movies. It just needs to stop. I'm sick of the ridiculous, hopeless, pathetic attempts at humor. And I'll give you one example off the top of my head that just stuck into my brain like a fucking splinter after I heard it. Megatron or this other Prime or whoever the fuck it was talking about how they brought supposedly this weapon of mass destruction to Earth, and the lady who's in charge of security, who I guess the joke is supposed to be that she has a penis, I guess, she says, oh, you can't just bring weapons of mass destruction to Earth, kinda have to go through customs first. Yeah, that's right, because you can really bring weapons of mass destruction somewhere as long as you go through customs first. That doesn't even make any sense, you fucking hack. Fuck you. Stop writing. You're not good at it. I wish I could punch you in the fucking face. Then you have the parents that show up out of nowhere who I guess have mental problems, and it actually gets so bad to where they have a conversation in an RV where the mom actually makes reference to the size of her son's penis. That's how bad the writing in this movie is. And so, to the people who continue to hire this clown, because I don't want to say anything to him directly, because if I do, I'm gonna hurt someone. Here's my advice, just to Hollywood. Focus on the name on your screen right now, and when you see this guy coming in for a job, do not hire him. And if anybody has hired him for a project right now, fire him. It'll be the best, I don't care how far into production you are, it'll be the best business decision you've ever made. This is the worst writer in America. All he's doing is showing up and scrawling out shit to cut a paycheck, and then he's going home and laughing as these movies bomb. And he fucking knows it. Fire his ass. If this guy was a carpenter, all of his buildings would have fallen down by now, and somebody would have fired him anyway. This is the worst of the three. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. This is beyond a piss me the fuck off movie. This is a, if this movie was a person, I would assault it movie. How the fuck did John Malkovich get roped into this bullshit? How the fuck did Leonard Nimoy get roped into this bullshit? God, that guy must have nothing better to do these days. Now, to be fair, this isn't exactly 100% a review of Transformers Dark of the Moon. This is almost a review of Transformers Dark of the Moon. And the reason is this. I have not finished this movie. I cannot finish this movie. I am going to hurt someone if I finish this movie. That's how bad this is. If I had seen this in the theater, which I will not, because I feel bad even giving these guys the pittance of a royalty for renting the damn thing, this would have been a walkout for me. I am not going to sit through any more of this bullshit. Just to give a quick word to the special effects, because I had mentioned them in the first two. The special effects in the first one were enough to get me through on entertainment. The special effects in the second movie were complete ridiculous garbage. The special effects in this movie are all over the place. Some of them are really good, and especially on the chase scene on the road, I was like, okay, this is kind of getting me back into like the stuff that I liked in the first one. And then you have other moments where it just felt like they were trying so hard to go 3D that it doesn't translate well to 2D, and it just looks like a cartoon. So that one's all over the place for whatever the hell this is worth. But I'm done with this shit. I'm just, this is it for me. If they make another one of these, which they probably won't, because this one, it did financially well, but it was another critical failure. And I don't know that I'm even gonna bother with these anymore, not even just for a review. I'm so fucking tired of this. And once again, you may have noticed that I never talked about the plot because there isn't one. And I'm not gonna give this fucking clown even the small satisfaction of trying to decipher a plot out of this. There is no plot. He knows it. He just wants money. Stop giving this guy money.